As good a time as any.
I've pulled this into my ownership now because I can see the experience hasn't been of what I would expect to see. Been doing a bit of background work while I've been in the meantime getting one of my faults experts to have a look at this, and there is something wrong. We need to do a bit more digging. We need to take some ownership. I think it's been a little bit in the air for you. One of the things we've done in the interim is I looked to see if I had any call features. Sometimes what happens if you don't have or have call features, they can influence your calls as well. So I've done a check on that with our back system, and that's something I've ruled out for you. I do need to do some more checks, but this call's more about reassurance and ownership. And then obviously what I used to do is work for the high-level escalation team, so I'm going to get one of the faults experts to really dig into this and try and get a solution and get it fixed for you.
Okay. To put it again, the fault itself doesn't really affect my life that much. Now, to be honest, I'm on a bit of a mission now that I experienced this situation where people just saying, no, we're going to charge you 65 quid. And they were just ignoring common sense for so long. I could have shown you I could have sent all these videos, and I did this with the second engineer with the phone call thing. I've explained it a million times. I would have happily just had someone like you phone me up and say, hey, can we just dial this number? And I could do it from any of the switches in any of the points. When the first engineer came out, there's another thing that seems to be a discrepancy in the message video I had with the previous lady. The engineer, the first time, because I wasn't there to supervise, the engineer came back to you actually saying everything's fine. They didn't say there was a problem with the system. So when this lady I spoke to prior to you said, 2 engineers have said it's wrong. No, it was one engineer who didn't even check my kit. The previous engineer, I don't know what they checked, but I'm guessing they checked my kit and said it was all fine. So the moment an engineer came out and said, everything's okay, and I said, but I can't dial out, they didn't check that, would have been the perfect time for you guys to say, well, it's going to be our end. So main thing I'm going for there is what I want to make sure is the second engineer who actually had a chip on his shoulder actually gets some kind of comeback. That's something that's quite important to me. So I don't know if you put a complaints process in, how you would do that.
We have got a complaints process, obviously. It's the engineers, but we do have a process obviously to raise a complaint about any concern for the customer.
I want to make sure the actual human being who came to my house, I told him, you just need to try and call out. He wanted to go through his process of checks, which had already passed the previous time. I said, no, you just literally need to plug into that wall point there and try and make a phone call. And then he spent ages, because I had to wait at home, obviously, the whole time that he was doing his tests. And he showed me the results on his thing. This is good. This is good. He went through this process, but he was a bit agitated because I was saying, dude, you just need to try and make a phone call out. Everything works. He said, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm an engineer. I have to go through this process. That's what got him agitated, I think, to the point where he then wanted to blame the other stuff downstream of the box for the problem. So I want to make sure that him submitting a false report, because he knew full well that the system worked. I had good internet. I showed him my download speed and he couldn't dial out. Yet he said it was downwind of the box, which couldn't have been because he was hardwired. So he openly lied, creating a part of this fussle. So I want to make sure the person who came to my house has a complaint against them, not you acknowledging that I'm complaining against you.
Yeah. No, there is a process for that, and I'll make sure as one of the actions that's done in the next 24 hours for you, and the correct process is the form we complete and a process that we follow, so I'll ensure that's done. So I have had visibility of the engineer notes from that visit as well. Obviously, sometimes we work on what they see, but we're not there to see it at the same time, so I must...
But you had you've got the previous engineer notes there as well, because the lady before you was saying that the 2 engineers came out and said it wasn't working, when in fact it was only the second one. Or unless it was the same one again. Again, I'm still not sure. But the first engineer result was, I wasn't there. You guys said, well, it's all working. And I said, no, it's not working because I can't dial out. So I don't understand. Well, I do understand. Then the woman who I was in the call with second time trying to justify fobbing £65 off onto me. And would she be financially motivated to do so?
No, there isn't. I've just had a quick look before I rang you. I just had a quick look at the ticket before I called, and I can see you've put a comment on there. There's no motivation or no incentive to retain these charges or apply these charges. It's all done by what we call a revenue and assurance team, and they basically have the account, have the engineer notes, validate it, and then apply the charge.
So when you say validate it, how do they validate it?
They validate it by the engineer notes. So the odd time, obviously, customers do dispute them, like yourself. And there is one thing I would like to highlight. I'm kind of on the overview of it as well. My colleagues been helpful. I obviously do the management. I've got experts that deal with this kind of thing all day. We can't see any outbound call being made by the engineer, so that kind of puts me on your side in regards to if there's no trace of a call made, how would they understand that that was a fault? So I'm totally with you on this.
Yeah, I get that you are, but what frustrated me when I started saying, okay, right, this is going to be, that's it, we're going hell for leather there, we're going online, was the bit where the woman before you said, acknowledged that, saw that, and said, well, the engineer note said, it stands. And also, after the call, as you might have seen, I then got 2 messages. I don't know what goes on to my actual account, because you phoned me up in response to these communications, but... Yeah. When a lady called, I assumed it was in response to my, let's say it was a message the day before yesterday, or the day before she called. I had the call with her, and then the next message I had from the system, it was just almost like the 2 things weren't related, because I just left it, I didn't do anything after that, was a message from your team saying, as if I hadn't had the phone call, saying that the charge stands. So I don't understand what do you have written in front of you?
We have, we have like what we call a ticketing system. So there's an open complaint ticket on your account, which is the one that I commented on. And I think this is where the majority of your comments have been made and your fault. There is another ticket on the account further down, which is from our revenue and assurance team that's validated the charge. So I don't know, I'm trying to find...
There's another ticket missing for now. I was trying to look for the one, because I do remember receiving, or maybe it was through a call, but I think it was, or maybe it was an email, I don't know, but when I first initiated this isn't working, I think we had a ticket system, and in it, at the end, because I wasn't paying attention... or I saw some before we had the second, there was the one where you guys said the engineers come back and said it's all working, and then I went, no, it's not, in between the 2 engineers, and that for some reason there's no ticket showing up even in the closed tickets. But obviously I like access to that, because I remember distinctly there being you guys saying, well, the engineer went and he said it all works, and I was like, but it doesn't.
I'm going to be honest with you, like I say, the first thing I said to you, the customer experience hasn't been what I would expect, and I get that.
Yeah,
I want to get this sorted for you, and there's a few points, obviously. I know there's an escalation in regards to BT and the engineer. I do want to get, I know you're saying...
Yeah, but now this is concerned, I've got a missing part of my evidence chain that the first engineer said everything was working. I was wondering where that went. Because if I was, let's say I was talking to you and I was talking to the previous lady and I said to her, no, the first engineer said it was all working. And then they didn't check the thing. They actually checked my kit. If let's say I'd remembered that at the time when I was speaking to her, I don't actually have access to that evidence anymore. It's disappeared.
We can't take things off account. I mean, what I'll do is this evening I'll get one of my guys to put what we call it a deep dive or a timeline together, and I'll pull everything together in a chronicle order and see where we're at with stuff for you.
I mean, it could be that it was not outside the 30 days. Yeah. How do I search for closed tickets beyond 30 days? So
you can go to full ticket history.
I only had my phone, so maybe it wasn't come up. I only saw...
Yeah. So your system's quite similar to what we see. So when we open up, it shows you kind of the most recent. Then there's another tab we click on for full ticket history, so it might be in the background. What I can do is I'll have a look for it this evening, and the ticket that I've been commenting on, I can either copy and paste it on or reference it so you can
right. But the one where basically you guys say the engineers come out and they said it's all working, the ticket's now closed, which I assumed that you guys thought meant that the guy had made an external phone call, and I probably didn't actually check it for 2 weeks because I don't actually use it. So it was only when I picked up the phone to find my phone I thought, oh, it's not working, because I didn't bother to check it. I just assumed the BT engineer had somehow fixed it. Yeah.
I'm going to go away, like I said, I'm going to go away, do a bit more deep dive. I just wanted, the primary reason for my call was to say, a manager's got this now, it's not going in the kind of the pool of the customer service, I don't know if you've probably got the notification that you've been transferred into social media management pool.
I mean, that's a real shame though, because the thing, the moment somebody starts putting videos on YouTube, if I was my nan, I would have forked out 65 quid. That's the thing that worries me. and that's why I want to make a big deal of it.
No, and on the back of this, there'll be feedback to be given as well. Obviously, it only come onto my attention last night in my department, but like I say, I agree with you. There has been some failings early on in this journey that is not acceptable, and I will be making sure that's fed back to all. So I think there's that many parts of this. I just want to make sure that I get it all right for you rather than rushing things.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So what I'll do is, like I say, I'll work on it a little bit this evening tomorrow. Would you like me to give you an update tomorrow evening? Would that work for you? I'm just on too late.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think about it in the gap, so I don't have anything I need.
If you want to call me, I can leave you a number on there that's more direct to the department. Would that help?
No, I mean the other thing I'm waiting for is because I can't see how you can possibly fix it very easily. Well, I don't care how you just fix it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the really easy fix is just to close my account and open another one, and then I would be a different thing on the system, and then theoretically everything will just work. I want to make sure obviously that doesn't happen while my wife's normally working from home.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like I say, I've got a few experts. I've got, with my tenure in obviously the departments I've come from, I've got a lot of people who have been here a long time and know a lot of different things and ways around. So let me go and work with some of the experts and see what we can do for you. I'll send a little update via ticket, and then also I'll keep you informed of the hours I'm working and a number you can contact me should you want to come in, or you can always drop me a note on the ticket saying if you give me a call or whatever.
Right.
I don't want to keep eating into your evenings and taking
right.
your time.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.